certainly were on 2.7. Look at this Blackfeather and Celeste ban, and then a Vox first pick. Totally different to what we've been seeing.
This is what we call the Vainglory 8 meta development throughout the weekend. We started with prioritization on the roamers, and now look at it. Blackfeather and Celeste bans, all the roamers are open, and still Vox gets picked, and then Idris is just a completely different story than what we've seen before.
Yeah, this is very surprising, and obviously now the captains are likely to be focused here with these next couple of bans, just because you have to be worried if you're on the side of Fnatic. You know, if SK bans one of those two power picks, either the Catherine or the Grace, you need to take the other one off the board because you cannot give Idris and one of those top three captains.
I would love to see SK ban either Grace or Catherine to force Fnatic to ban the other and then pick up Cruel, or even pick up Petal to deny the Cruel. I would prefer to see Cruel just because he combines so well with the CP Idris. If they play to that strength of protect the carry, and CP Idris is an amazing carry late game, they can do really well.
Certainly can. Now, looking towards these bans, I'm curious to see if we see any captain bans at all this late on into the draft, or whether it has to go towards jungles. Catherine is going to be taken off the board here. Fnatic have to decide where they want to go. I wouldn't be surprised to see something like a Grace taken off the board, honestly, because Grace just can be so influential. Yeah,
like Iraqi Zero said, if they do ban away the Grace, then SK can grab the Krull if they'd like. It is going to be the Lyra, so now Grace is open, and if they just grab the Grace here, it's Idris Grace. This is such a strong composition that you used to only see on A side because it wasn't possible to get it on the B side. But because of the way that the meta has shifted already this week, it is going to come out. But here's that Fortress proc attempt.
Yeah, this is that classic that we've seen. We've only seen it, I think this is the third time, but it has the potential to be an incredibly powerful composition, but very high on required execution.
Yeah, it really does, and it's also going to depend on what builds Fnatic do choose to go for. I do expect the double TT coming out of Vox, at least I hope, so that he can proc the bleeds from Fortress a little bit faster. The thing is, SK can still pick up Cruel here. I would prefer to see them not pick it, exactly, because that would be a really tough matchup for him to go up against the Vox and the Fortress. Samuel is better at kiting, so this is going to be an Aegis weapon power, most likely. It's a completely different style than when if you had a CP Aegis.
Yeah, very different composition to... I don't think we've seen this composition, actually, across the course of this season just yet. So with the Grace instead of a Lyra alongside the Samuel, they have some sustain in these fights, but it's more that burst sustain. It's more likely going on to the Idris as he tries to dive on into the backline. So how are we anticipating this game plays out, especially in the early game here?
For the early game, it's going to be incredibly intense because both sides are really going to want to get that early advantage. They want to get their first couple of items. The 2 to 3 item spike for both of these laners is going to be absolutely massive.
I agree, and once SK has their power spike with Idris' Sora Blade, if he's going for that, they're going to be able to apply so much lane pressure if Samuel comes up. I hope to see them do that.
All right, we'll see if they can bring that to pass. It's time to head into our finals, though, ladies and gentlemen. Let us know whether you want Fnatic or SK to take this one. Hashtag Vainglory8 on Twitter. But it's about time we jumped on into our final and finished off the first week of the European Vainglory 8. Let's pass it back to Dowsy and the Source.
You heard Munchables. Who's it going to be? SK or Fnatic? Get your cappas ready in chat. This is a huge matchup coming into the first week of the Vainglory 8. And Fnatic looking like they want to go straight on into SK. A level 1 fight breaking out. Tet to let. Bit of a trouble, but Fnatic have disengaged. Now looking to re-engage just a little bit, but I think SK are very confident. They want to go forward and do even more damage. Look at Net2Let. Look at Power so low. Popping their healing fast. Tyras, though, has been left with TennoJJ. SK fighting on 3 fronts. They need to find a single target. It's going to be this Treant, their single target, and they're going to look to steal it away.
Yeah, good steal away by SK, and that team fight getting kind of split. It looked like the members of Fnatic, well, at least Palmator and Net2Let, they wanted them to come in. They were taking a bunch of extra damage, trying to bait the side of the SK as far forward as humanly possible, and then use those healing flasks to then win the team fight. But TechnoJJ was too far away from them to really make that a reality, and he could not step into that bush. He goes into that bush, and Cavalifar would have cut him to pieces. So good by TechnoJJ to survive through that, but I think Fnatic might have been a little over-eager with their composition, which doesn't have a massive amount of damage just yet. And you're looking at some of the burst that that Grace has, which, you know, people tend to forget about. You've got huge damage out of Valifar, and even if it was only level 1 for Samuel, you don't want to be getting hit by the Malice and Verdict. The sustain is going to be there. Wasn't a good fight for Fnatic. I'm surprised that they were willing to take it that far.
Yeah, no, the level 2 power spike for Fnatic so much more strong. Look at this. SK are saying that our level 2 is pretty good as well. Wow, the damage from Tyra's, heralded as the best Samuel in EU, is showing up so far. Gonna steal that away from Palmatoro. And now Palmatoro's in a bit of trouble himself. Drifting Dark up in just a second. He's gonna pop it. Look perhaps for Netalet as well. First blood to Tyra's. Netalet just about gets away. SK so much early aggression, and Fnatic failing to deal with it.
Yeah, I think Fnatic was caught a little unawares that SK would be willing to fight them that hard, that deep. And now we have the same situation that we saw last game, just the roles have been reversed. Cavalifar had the lane super far pushed up. It wasn't safe for Techno JJ to step too far forward. You know, had to worry about that gank coming in. And then Tyrus and Hegman just had a good time just moving throughout the jungle. Now we're going to get Samuel, you know, much further forward, is sitting on a decent chunk of gold. Won't have that Frostburn just yet, but that's going to show up very, very soon.
And I love the fact that this is the second time that SK have faced up against this Vox, Fortress and Lance composition. G2 playing it in the semi-final, and SK knew exactly how to deal with it, seeming like they've kind of figured things out. In fact, they're going double crystal power here today with this composition. Cavalifar has himself a heavy prison, has that crystal bit. We're going to see double CP out of SK, and I think that Idris is possibly one of the heroes that you can actually get away with doing this with.
Yeah, the damage is high enough, the mobility is there, you're able to kite throughout the fight, and even though there, you know, you could run into, okay, we've scaled only into one type of damage, the amount of shielding that can be built up by individual targets isn't that great. You're looking at 2 items total, and if everybody's picking up a second fountain, then you're running really, really low when it comes to you know, dealing additional damage. You're going to have to. Cavalifar is probably going to go into 4 item damage spike, and we can already see that the siege is here with all the damage that Tyrus can output.
Wow, the siege from Tyros is so huge, and we do see that Palmatoro is looking to try and pick up that tension bow first item, so really taking inspiration. Oh, no, JJ almost loses his life. This turret's going to go down. SK just going to take it away, and look at Hegman looking for the kill, doesn't quite find it, but Netalet is going to struggle to escape. Tyros finds Techno JJ, 2-0 to him, and now SK are going to look to move on in and try and steal away this jungle as well.
Yep, Palmatoro in a tricky position is going to try and fight the Crystal Sentry at his back.
Sentry almost dead. The Malice and Verdict's actually missing. Tyra's rooted on up. He might just be bursted to death. He is. SK, a mistaken aggression. And now they have to be careful because the rest of Fnatic are rounding the corner. Palmatoro to charge. Techno JJ onto Cavalifar. And he will go down. Hegman, can he escape? I think he shall. But a bit of aggression comes out of SK that Fnatic are able to match.
And Fnatic need to capitalize as much as they can right now. Although these traps are doing a little bit of damage. I think Netalet got a little over-aggressive. Hegman will not be able to reset up that vision. But Fnatic, they need to take what they just got there. They are down 3k gold off of farm, off of the Crystal Sentry going down, off of that first turret. They need to slow it down a bit, find some more of those items. We've got Techno JJ with nothing but a poison ship. Yes, that's nice having that ability to kind of shut down some of Tyrus' sustains there. That's nowhere near the damage they're going to need. And Tyrus is dishing it out, has that Frostburn, has the slows.
Netalet is so low. Does get the healing from the Treant. It's just enough to keep him alive from those Malice and Verdict's Tyrus are outputting. Double Frostburn coming out of SK for the kite. I will be very happy to see a double CP composition work. If SK can manage this, then it's going to really change the way we look at the draft, I think, in 2.8.
Palmatoro's gone for the tension bow, so maybe going for a little bit on hit. That's actually a really good impale, good Githian wall to follow up. And now here's the counter engage.
Look at Tyra's the damage he outputs with the Malice and Verdicts. Crystal Sentry has a minion candy and SK immediately turn around. It's doing so much damage and Valifar gets bursted by that tension bow. Palmatoro likely to get himself an aftershock next. How I'm the Doom played it against Fnatic in yesterday's games. Currently SK though, down the lead by 2,500 gold.
Yeah, SK, for the moment, they can slow things down, farm up their side of the jungle. Tyrus is getting towards that broken myth. I definitely think Kvalifar, sitting on a good chunk of gold, will either go into his own broken myth or maybe into that alternating current as we normally would see, but they just have so much burst right now. They're able to dish out so much damage, and there's only, well, there's a little bit of shield on Netalet, but Palmatora is starting to build his own Aegis, and maybe they start to survive these fights a little bit longer. But, I mean, as those broken myths start to come out, I would worry if I were the side of Fnatic. Need a perfect engagement, this might be it.
Kvalifar, able to escape for now, is kiting back. Tyra's so much damage, Palmatora almost dead. Tyra's moving forward, Techno JJ trying to lay down the damage, but it's Netalet to die. And will SK charge forward? Hegman dives on forward, looking for Techno. He is getting slowed down by the double Frostburn. And Tyra's to take the kill. SK looking to take the second Crystal Sentry life as well. A huge gold lead accumulated for them, 3,000 at the 7-minute mark, and there's nothing that Fnatic can do about it.
There isn't enough crowd control on the side of Fnatic. They cannot lock down Tyrus for long enough. That was a good opening. You had the Impale Githian wall basically into the shop. We'll get to see this again off of the replay. Netalet is looking for it, gets the single Impale, knocks Kvalifar into the side, but nobody is onto Tyrus, and Kvalifar is able to just jump away with the Glimmer Strike. Then you see the instant turn, the damage starts to come through, and Tyrus... Wait, that got stolen?
Netalet stole the gold miner from SK. That's a huge amount of gold. I think 1,200 full gold payout going over to Fnatic. Going to bridge the gap just slightly.
That's definitely going to be good for the side of Fnatic, but they need to find a much better team fight, and the damage is going to start to be there for Kvalifar. He's got 1,200 gold. Isn't enough for him to finish any other major items, but he'll be on that second tier 3 item by 10 minutes, and I dare say that Tyrus will probably be there as well. And then there's just going to be so much damage. And these fights are going long, which is going to make these broken myth stats build up for Tyrus very quickly.
Yeah, I just wish Kvalifar maybe changing up his build, going for the broken myth second. We've seen in competitive games you can have success on Idris if you go broken myth second rather than the alternating current. I just think it would have been far more beneficial for the team if he'd picked up that broken myth rather than the alternating current. Tyra's is going towards his second, has the gold to go complete it now. SK's still in a fairly good spot. You know, they just need to get Kvalifar to the broken myth, and they've done exactly what they need to do. The Aegises haven't been completed yet for the side of Fnatic, which means that perhaps the broken myths aren't quite necessary. SK looking to charge forth down this lane.
I thought they might have engaged on the side of Netalet, but they can just set up the siege, which is how this initial gold lead started to build up. And it's very, very difficult. Techno JJ, he's on the blocks up to that middling range, need to be kind of in the fight, kiting just outside melee range. Netalet hasn't been able to fully secure that for them, and although, yes, Attack of the Pack could let them get far enough into the backline, they have to do it pretty much instantly, because as soon as that Drifting Dark Malice Inverted combo comes out from Tyrus, he will just start to kite back, the Frostburn will be there, and then on top of that, you also have Kvalifar's Frostburn. It's so difficult to pin down these damage dealers from the side of SK, and I mean, you know, Hegman hasn't been doing anything crazy, but he's been doing his job. You also have to deal with the additional CC coming out from the Grace, so it's just a matter of time before SK get too strong, I think, for Fnatic to deal with, unless Fnatic can really stem the flow of momentum for the side of SK.
Well, we do see that the Aegis has been completed. On to Techno JJ and Palmatora. Does mean that Palmatora is lacking in damage on this fortress. Hasn't had the gold income yet to complete his Aftershock. Kvalifar has that piercing shard for himself. The broken myth is online for Tyras. Kvalifar going to need to build up some income if he wants to get that broken myth. Look at the damage though that the Frostburn outputs. It's a super engaged composition Fnatic have here with the Fortress and the Vox. They're able to charge forward, but with double Frostburn, so much slowing is provided that allows Fnatic to SK to kite, and to let they just lose his life here. Pops the fountain, just about escapes. But Tyra's going to continue stacking up this Broken Myth. 6 stacks, and the attack of the pack disengaged by Hegman. Nothing that they can do at this point. 8 Broken Myth stacks, 9 onto Tyra's, and this turret is dead. Hegman wants to re-engage the Malice and Verdict onto Palmatoro, but I think they've just about got out of the sights of SK, and now SK can move back. Don't have to do too much to this turret. Cavalifar has to be careful he doesn't overcommit here, but here comes Tyra's back into the front line to provide the threat SK needed.
Yeah, and now SK, they can put pressure onto this 3rd Crystal Sentry. It will be down. We're having just really fast Crystal Sentry kills here in these last few games. It has been eliminated 12 minutes into the game, and I just don't know how Fnatic are going to be able to get through what is basically a wall of siege and barrage. There's all of these skill shots that are coming out. They can it's basically like walking into a firing squad from the side of SK, a firing squad that can constantly walk backwards and kite you. And there just hasn't been an opportunity, there hasn't been an opening for Fnatic to find that hard engage that they would like from Net2Let. And we saw last game, Net2Let did a really good job of finding those double Githian walls. He's got his Echo now, so he can make that happen. But he needs the rest of his team to be there with him. And I also don't know if TechnoJJ has the damage. He's got a breaking point and a poison chip. There's no Sorrow Blade there.
And this is incredible. Broken Myth now completed for Cavalifar. We've got the best Samuel in Europe on Tyra's. Potentially the best CP Idris on Cavalifar. Yet to be confirmed, I think. But currently he's making a case for himself here in the autumn season. Now they've got their Broken Myths. Those Aegises almost going to do nothing. TechnoJJ's committing to a 2nd shielding item, may even go for a fountain just to provide extra healing. I think Palmatoro might be wise to do the same. Triple fountain gives that double shielding item that the team needs, but wow. Currently SK have full control over the game. The Crystal Sentry eliminated, and it's only a matter of time until the Kraken joins us.
Yeah, I mentioned the possibility that you take that fountain, but it's going to cut down on TechnoJJ's damage for a while. He has built up the heavy steel, does have a little bit more damage there, will eventually get that Sorrow Blade, but that's just such a slowdown and just a heavy adaptation, and shows how much SK is dictating the pace of this game and what is going to happen. Palmatoro is low.
Look at the damage that he's taking through the Aegis as well. It's disgusting. Look at the stacks on Cavalifar. TechnoJJ, the fountain forced to keep him alive. And Fnatic, they are forced right back into their base. SK gonna chip at this turret. So much damage comes out of the Chakram as it flies on through. 1 more Chakram, 2 more auto attacks. That turret is dead. And SK are gonna look to try and take it on this rotation here. They've got the Broken Myth starting to stack up. They've got Net2Let just providing all of that. The Chakram going through, and all it needs is 2 more auto attacks from Cavalifar, and that turret is gone. Nothing that Fnatic can do apart from hard engage onto SK, but the Broken Myths are already starting to stack up. Hegman goes on in, looks for the knock-up. This Oblivion puts TechnoJJ to sleep, and Cavalifar going to launch damage right at him. Divine Intervention keeps Cavalifar alive. Palmatoro's dead. TechnoJJ, he's dead as well. It's only going to be Net2Let left to save the base, because there's no escaping Tyras in that scenario. And now the minions can work at this turret, but it's likely SK don't even go for it now. The Kraken, she spawned, and SK gonna want to take her.
SK have just dominated this game pretty much from the get-go. It's, you know, that first initial fight they were willing to step in as 3. They won what was a positional team fight, and we'll get to look at this one more time. So Fnatic had done a really good job of defending this turret for a little while. They had managed to slow things down a bit. They used the additional attack speed. Out comes the attack of the pack. They're forced to use 1 of the Crucibles to block out all that Oblivion, but there's just so much damage from the side of SK that if they don't manage to get onto Tyras initially, which I don't think they ever have, except for maybe once they managed to actually put some pressure onto him and get that kill, it's just such a struggle for the side of Fnatic to be able to break through what is SK playing an incredibly well-coordinated set of team fighting.
I just love the fact that Europe has kind of taken... It's just been so much debate. North America, Shadowglass on Idris every time, no questions. But Europe's like, hey, I think Frostburn can work. And at the moment, I can't disagree. SK are just showing up so huge. Eggman dives on in. That's going to be the Oblivion blocked up, but Tyros isn't ready to output the damage. Techno JJ in trouble as Kavalifar rips on through, takes him down with the Chakram, and Netalet will follow him to the death timer screen. It's only Palmatoro left alive. Double CP and EU working up huge, and Palmatoro trying his best to save the base, but he goes down to Kavalifar. An ace for SK. Game 1 here. A double CP win. What is 2.8?
It's an interesting time to be in Vainglory. We've got the best CP Idris, the best Samuel in EU. I think they've made a solid case for it. If they win out week 1, SK will have shown significant dominance. Let's throw this back over to the desk.